Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from Lagos, our global headquarters. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. Let's bring you up to speed with the big happenings in politics and in the polity at the moment. "23 killed, over 100 persons injured by multiple suicide bombings in Maiduguri. Government deployed joint security operation as President Bola Tinubu promises intensified action. President Bola Tinubu, his wife Remi, depart Abuja for a landmark state visit to the United Kingdom on the invitation of King Charles III. And the governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo, is deputy, being inaugurated right now for a second term following their electoral victory in November last year. Let's get started with security happenings in Maiduguri, where police authorities in the state's capital have confirmed that a total of 23 persons have now been killed, with over 100 others sustained injuries after 3 bomb blasts were detonated on Monday night. Spokesman of the police, ASP Nahum Kenneth Dassa, who disclosed this in a press statement on Tuesday morning, revealed that the normalcy has returned to the state capital. The statement reads, preliminary investigations revealed that the incidents were carried out by suspected suicide bombers. Regrettably, a total of 23 persons lost their lives, while 108 persons sustained varying degrees of injuries, he said. It reveals also that following the incident, a combined team of police tactical units, the military, and other security operatives were swiftly deployed to the affected areas, while the scenes were immediately secured, cordoned off and subjected to thorough sweep operations by the Police Explosive Ordnance Disposal EOD Unit Base 13 in Maiduguri to rule out the presence of any additional threat. That's according to the police officer. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has expressed deep condolences following the recent terrorist attacks in Maiduguri, mourning the dead and sympathizing with the injured and standing solidarity with the residents of the state. President Bola Tinubu described the attacks as desperate acts by criminals and terrorists attempting to spread fear and pressure from Nigeria's armed forces and security agencies operating across multiple regions. The president commended the courage of the military and civilian task force for successfully repelling coordinated assaults on military positions, emphasizing that security forces will continue to curtail terrorist activities. The president announced additional operational support and equipment for security agencies, directing the security chiefs to deploy to Maiduguri and emergency agencies to ensure proper care for the injured. Now, the president and his wife, Senator Oluremi, has left Abuja for their state visit to the United Kingdom. Their flight took off from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport about 10 a.m. this morning. They were seen off by the airport at the delegation led by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and other government officials. The state visit is the first by a Nigerian leader in 37 years. President Tinubu it's also the first Nigerian leader to be hosted by the British monarch at Windsor Castle. According to the statement of presidency, the purpose of this visit is to strengthen bilateral relations and explore avenues for collaboration on issues such as immigration, trade, investment, and cultural exchanges. President Tinubu is expected to return to the country at the conclusion of the state visit. Just before I bring in my guests to discuss politics, I did tell you that Chukwuma Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, is being sworn in. As a matter of fact, himself and his deputy have just been sworn in. So you can see that parade of going on as we speak real time in Awka, the Anambra State capital, where Chukwuma Soludo has just been sworn in for a second term after his electoral landslide victory in November last year, where other parties participated. So That's exactly what is going on in Awka, the Anambra state capital, at the moment. Let's bring in my guest. Is a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, life member of the Board of Trustees of the PDP. Chief Bode joins us virtually for the program. Chief, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Always my pleasure. Thank you.
It's good to see you, sir. Well, where we are with your party is a very sad tale, unfortunately. And I have just very direct questions. I was looking through your history. I'm talking about the PDP. Started off the Fourth Republic with 22 or so governors. By the next election, it grew to 27. By 2007, it grew to 28. And then by 2011, it came down to about 23. And then 2015, it came down to 13. And as we speak, we have just two governors, Oyo and Bauchi. Perhaps we're hearing that Bauchi governor, who is the chairman of the forum, will also be defecting. Now the APC has supermajority across board. That is 31 governors in their fold. Chief, how did People's Democratic Party, that has always been seen as a national party in a true sense, get to this point where it is now left with two governors? That's question one. Question two, one of the things the People's Democratic Party pride itself in the past was that it's not a party you can say this person is in control. Everybody was somehow in control one way or the other. But now it's a party that, literally individuals are in charge and running things. How did the party get here, Chief?
Thank you for having me for this discussion. The party got to this situation because of the personal greed of human beings, which you cannot, rule out when you are in a daily political activity. The founding fathers established a formidable party, a party with a solid spinal cord, a party that involved all the various tribes of this country. For the first time in the history of our country, you had a political party, and a local political party that has a network across the tribes, across religion. And no party up till now has this kind of doing. And there are two terrible shortcomings in Nigeria, two devils, I call them: religious bigotry and tribalism. We were able to surmount this, and they established this party, and we ran this country for 16 unbroken years. What you have now, what happened was, of course, the human greed, the avarice in human beings, the lackluster attitude to the commitment of this nation as a country, the togetherness that was established by the founding fathers. Some people thought, the way it was, once all the positions in one section, either the North or the South, after 8 years, all positions in the North must come to the South, all the positions in the South must go to the North. But some people thought they were bigger than the party. They are bigger than the country. They brought their personal ambition into the game and almost destroyed the party. But I want to assure you, yes, it is good that we still have formidable leaders in the party. The founding fathers who are still alive are still with us. So what we will do, what we are doing now, is stretching our arms. The Court of Appeal in Abuja threw caution to the wind. Disgracefully, disgustingly, they made a judgment that was so disheartening things that were brought so clear in our own constitution that we followed. We went. The INEC was present at the NEC meeting that we had, where decisions of what we should do and not do at the National Convention were all debated. They were present. Then, because it is an internal election, we know we are looking for managers within. We are not competing with any other party on the selection or election of our managers for the party. We went to Ibadan for the National Convention, which had been the procedure adopted since the formation of this party. Somehow, INEC, then the Professor Amopopo, or whatever they call his name, they refused to show up. They were invited. They didn't come. But because it is an internal dynamics, an internal selection of the managers of the party, they were not compulsorily, legally, to be present. And we ran the convention. Now, this Court of Appeal in Abuja threw caution to the wind and said our convention was not normal. Look, I have been through this, the history of this country, because I come from a home where my great-granduncle was the first Nigerian politician. We have to be very careful. We have to be very manipulation, idiocy, and thinking you use the powers. It is transient. No power is permanent. So we had also been in power. Did we go into any other political party to dismember them? No. Allow everybody to exercise their own will. Allow the will of the people to survive. Then he threw that, and so the issue had been Wike versus the party. The first group with the Atiku and all those had formed their own party, and in that party now they said there is no zoning, which is a canal, and it is the spinal cord of any policy in this country, to be able to guarantee and make sure that every Nigerian, whether you are minority or majority or Christian or Muslim or atheist, will have a say in this country. Now, fortunately, as we were holding that meeting, we had another Court of Appeal from Ibadan that suggested to both parties that, look, you are all members of this political party. Go and meet, go and discuss. Let us see how you can manage yourselves and hold meetings so that you can do a reconciliation. If you fail to arrive at anything sensible, come back to the court for judgment. If you are able to succeed in reconciling yourselves, come back to the court. And so we will then be able to give this judgment, consent judgment. So we have two prongs now. We have appealed to the Supreme Court on the shenanigan and the lackluster of honesty of purpose. These people from the Court of Appeal in Abuja grabbed the Lady of Justice, the blindfolded Lady of Justice, with a sword and a scale. They turned the head upside down and messed up judiciary. The history of judiciary had been tainted by these Court of Appeal people in Abuja. Thank God, another Court of Appeal said, let's go and look at what you could do to resolve your crisis. So we have made the appeal to the Supreme Court on the judgment given by the Court of Appeal in Abuja, and We are also we've set up committees to meet with the other people so that we can resolve, hopefully, if there are no hidden agenda. Because for us, who are on the mainstream of the party, there's no hidden agenda. There's nothing people like me and the Jerry Ghana and all these General Jang are looking for, but to continue to maintain the integrity as envisaged by the founding fathers of our party.
All right,
Because
Chief.
I am sure, listening to this, they will be juggling in the grave. So this is where we are, two prongs of approach. The first one is to appeal the judgment in Abuja, and the second one is the directive giving. It's a very reasonable suggestion. We are meeting people, the two committees have been set up. They will meet, they will discuss the differences. And in any case, is there any political party anywhere in the world where you don't have crisis? But the ability of the leaders of the party to sit everybody down, listen to their stories,
All
and
right, Chief.
resolve
I would like to come in because of a break.
that would be a measure. That would be a measure
Yes, Chief.
of your competence.
Okay, Chief, let's take a break. When we come back, there are two questions I would like to ask in succession if we have the time. How realistic is this resolution and the ballot battle we will have to be looking at as far as Nigeria is concerned and the place of the PDP? But that will be after this break. Stay with us. My guest is Chief Bode George, board member, life member of the PDP Board of Trustees. Chief, thank you for staying with us. I just got this news in that Philip Aduda, who is an ally of Mr. Nyesom Wike, has resigned from your party as we speak. I'm just getting that notice from our correspondent. Now, let's talk about this resolution. Nyesom Wike has said, well, they are coming with their attempts. One of their attempts is that nobody touches the national convention their group is planning. I've forgotten the other thing he said. However, we're also seeing his team trying to rally around the country to ensure that they hold the structure of the party. So one is really wondering what exactly is your group going to bring in as a term for there to be any form of reconciliation? Because as it seems, there are two things that may happen to the PDP. Either you don't have a candidate in this election, or just be a participant, not a contender in this election.
Yeah, that is his own concept of operation. He's a young man, and I want to remind him about history of this country, the political history of this country. First of all, as a matter of an exchange, my great-granduncle, Papa Hellas Abad Macaulay, was the first Nigerian politician in this country. He established the first political party in 1922. All right? So I come from that background. For Wike to be daydreaming, and I want to remind him of two issues in our nation that totally disrupted every sensibilities of this nation. The first one was in 1962, the 1962 crisis in Western region, where the Akitola party was trying to decimate the action group. They went to the extent the Prime Minister then, Baba Tafawa Balewa, declared a state of emergency. And I remember exactly what Papa Awolowo said in the National Assembly and said, Mr. Prime Minister, you want to declare a state of emergency in Western region. Was there any violence in Mokola? Was there violence in Ogbomoso? Was there violence in Ajegunle? Was there violence in Badagry? Why do you want to create a crisis? Because when you create a crisis, you can never, as a human being, know how it would end. That was the beginning of the madness, like what he's trying to do now. And what happened? We went through Coca Commission of Inquiry, treasonable felony, and then Papa was jailed and put in prison in Calabar. By 1967, the Nigeria went into a civil war. People who had no bearing, no issues on the contending matters in Western region died for nothing. Millions of people died. For what? I remember gloriously what General Gawan said at the end of the war. There was no victor, no vanquished. We started again. We started again. And the second one was when General Abacha created 5 political parties. And he wanted to be the presidential candidate for all the 5 parties. If you remember that, where did he lead this nation? So Wike should think back. If, unfortunately, they don't teach history anymore. And if you avoid the pitfalls of the past, the lessons of the past, you are bound to repeat it. Nigeria has come of age, the giant of Africa. Why is he doing this? For whose benefit is he doing that? We got involved. I remember as a civil servant, part of my salary was deducted for us to sustain the battle to liberate Mandela in South Africa. I remember the speech made by General Muritala Muhammad at the OAU. That speech was so powerful and reverberated across the whole world. Mrs. Margaret Thatcher, that powerful woman, was the prime minister in England. He shook the whole of the world that they capitulated and accepted that there will be majority rule in Rhodesia. Nigeria led that team. What happened in Namibia? What happened in Central Congo? What happened in Sierra Leone? What happened in Liberia? What happened in Somalia? These are things that we had done as a nation, and people had that respect. 250 million Nigerians are in existence. For every 10 Africans, 7 are Nigerians. And I have gone through the length and breadth of this country, from Sokoto to Calabar, from Lagos to Borno, from Jigawa to the Delta. Look at what happened yesterday in Borno State. The insecurity in our land. Who gives us that respect anymore? Do we have a governance? And you are preparing that the Iroko political party of this country, established for the first time, that has representatives from all the tribes, from all religions in this country, are members of this party. Because you had an opportunity, you are trying to dismember, you can only know the beginning of this crisis, the end of which you can never tell.
All right, Chief,
so
we just
my
have...
young son, be careful, be careful. I am appealing to him. We are now on 2 prongs. We are going back to the court of the highest court in the land, because the judiciary has thrown themselves completely out of gear.
All right.
I'm not a lawyer, but I went to school. I can read things that the Supreme Court has decided that they call supra. Lower courts are now getting involved again and turning such things overboard.
All right.
Is that the country we want? We are having elections round the corner. There is hunger in the land, and there is therefore anger in the land. So I am pleading with whoever it is, and I have, last night, I listed something that I call spiritual tonic, because this year is a special year in this country.
Chief,
For the first time,
we have about just 60 seconds if you can land on your thoughts, Chief.
Yeah, okay. I will quickly do that. For the first time, the Muslims started their prayers, their fasting, on the very same day that the Christians started their own. It's not usual. God is appealing to us. Whatever madness that is going through the minds of these people who want to disrupt this country, I have this to say. The spiritual tonic. Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, chapter 16. 1, we may make our plans, but God has the last word. Be loyal and faithful, and God will forgive your sin. It is better to have a little honestly earned than to have a large income dishonestly gained. Leaders should not tolerate evil,
All right,
because
Chief.
justice is what makes a government strong.
All right,
Lastly,
Chief.
pride leads to destruction, and arrogance leads to downfall. During this month of Lent and Ramadan, I plead with Nigerians. Let us pray to God to forgive our sins and direct us to do what is pleasing to Him. And my brother, this song, I don't understand. I don't know how to translate it.
Chief,
I learned it when I was
totally
a
out
little
of
boy.
time. We're totally out of time, Chief.
I know,
totally.
but let me, it will be incomplete if I don't sing it.
Chief, 10 seconds. 10 seconds. We're totally out of time.
Ojoojúmọ́ ni ká yọ mí kún, kó kún dẹ́dẹ́. Ojoojúmọ́ ni ká yọ mí pọ̀, kó pọ̀ dandan.
Thank you, sir.
Abanijẹ́ má bá yọ mí jẹ́. Èdùmàrè bá mi fàṣẹ. It is prayer we need.
All right,
The
Chief.
likes
I think
of
your
will
thoughts
come
are well.
and they will go.
Yes. I do not intend to interrupt, but because of time. Yes, my apologies. Yes, my apologies. No intent to interrupt, but we're racing against time, Chief. Thank you so much. Chief Bode, Judge, PDP, member of the Board of Trustees of the People's life member of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party. My apologies, but totally out of time. Thank you for watching. I'm Jeffrey Zongo. Bye-bye.